Feeding the starter. Cup of flour, cup of sugar, cup of milk. A cup. Happy you could join me in the downstairs kitchen today. We're going to be working on a preservation project. What I have here is my Amish friendship starter. Hey, are you going to follow along with us this month? Every Friday, Friendship Friday, my friend Renee and I are hosting an open collaboration where all of you get to participate too. Whether you're submitting videos and tagging me, or maybe you'll email me a picture of projects you're working on, we want to share every Friday what all of us friends are up to together with our Amish Friendship Starter. If you're not familiar with that, what it is it's kind of like a sweet sourdough. So it gets fed not just flour and water, it gets fed flour, milk, and sugar. So it has a little bit more to eat when you feed it, and it just is a really unique starter dough to work with. And today I want to freeze dry some so that I can share with my friends near and far. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work. I think I'm going to start out with just putting one sheet of parchment. Typically I will use like one that will fit in here that I get from Brian, retired at 40 freeze drying supplies, but I kind of think I want lips on this so that it doesn't go underneath. Let me bring you in and show you just how bubbly this is. So this is what it looks like untouched. You can see it's nice and happy and bubbly and fluffy. And I want to just give this a quick stir, because what I did is last night before I went to bed, I gave it a good feed. A cup. And we're gonna stir it up and make sure there's no clumps of flour, because sometimes that happens, and that's okay. That's why I like to let it sit overnight to kind of let all that come together. And you can see it's fluffy and bubbly and happy. We're gonna put 1 cup of starter on each side of our pan and put in a little pile here. And it's wanting to slide off the edge here, so go with my original thought, and I want the edges to go up. So what we'll do is I've got an extra sheet here because I just wasn't sure what to expect, and I want to cut it in half. Of course, my workspace is good and clean. And now what I want to do is slide this half underneath here so we get a little bit of a lip on this end too, because it doesn't quite fit quite right. And then I'll take another and put on this side. And I'm hoping I have enough starter to fill all 4 trays. So when you work with, whether it be sourdough or the Amish Friendship Starter, whatever, you always want to use, if you notice, I'm using my measuring spoons that are plastic. You don't want to use metal. I do believe stainless steel would probably be okay. But that's one more reason why I'm using the parchment paper, just so that it doesn't touch anything metal. And I'm being super cautious with how I handle the dough or the starter itself with the utensils I use. I have a glass bowl that I've been keeping it in. So I've pretty much used up my starter here, which is perfectly fine because I kind of need a break for a minute. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a jar so that I can clean my big vessel. It needs It probably needs a little bit of, you know, probably could use a cleaning because I've been a little bit messy with it. So I'm going to be left with just enough starter that we'll take this and we'll feed this, and I'll be able to cook with it in just a few days. But it will be very similar to what you would do when you restart from powdered. So I've got probably not quite a half a cup in here. So I'm going to put about a half a cup of flour, sugar, and milk in here to feed it. And I'll probably do that again in just a couple of days so that I can bake with it right away. Now I'm going to wash up and we're going to put these in the freeze dryer. It is suggested to dehydrate a sourdough starter at 88 degrees in your dehydrator. So I'm going to turn this to 85 degrees for my dry time. Remember the end where we added that extra piece? Put it in last, otherwise it tries to slide on you. You're going to kind of have that problem anyway. But if you're just patient with it, you can carefully put your trays in. Just work with the paper, work with the trays, and just kind of tuck it in. All will be fine.
It was at this very moment that I jinxed myself for what was about to happen.
Well, friends, unfortunately, when I came down to get our starter packaged up, there's a mess.
After opening the freeze dryer, I realized that it was still very sticky and it had a lot of dry time to do. So I ended up putting it in for an additional, I don't know, maybe 48 hours.
Upstairs this time because I have my Vitamix up here right now. So I thought I would go ahead. I have grabbed our Amish starter, what we got out of the freeze dryer. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to go ahead and powder this. And my plan is, I think it's going to be a little sticky still. Sometimes when you run it through the blade, even though this is the dry pitcher, sometimes the heat will cause it to have a little moisture, and we don't want that because I'm wanting this so that we could, you know, we don't want an active starter right now. So I'll probably be putting it in the dehydrator after this. Let's just see how this works. Okay, trying to keep that sealed as much as possible. So what I've done is I've moved as much as I could into the other container, and then in the lid, I'm going to take the big chunks so that I can have this container available to put all the powdered stuff in. So yeah, I still feel like there's a little sugar in here, which I think is just going to be the way it is. And now we have our powder. There's a few lumps in there. I'm just going to kind of crumble them with my fingers. Make sure that they're actually powder, because like I said, the moisture in there sometimes can cause it to clump back, and that's why I want to run it through the dehydrator just pretty, you know, quick like. Just to make sure. Now there are a few chunks where it didn't completely, you can feel it's a little harder, where you can feel that that didn't completely get blended. But some of it is, I believe, moisture. So these chunks I could put back in there. hopefully we can get to it quickly enough. We don't have a bunch of this. I think for the most part it is powdered well, so let's try this again. Okay, so this was the last of the starter. And I could definitely tell there's getting a little bit of moisture in there. So after I get done dehydrating it, which is just gonna, help air dry this basically, I'll have it at the lowest setting. We are down at the preservation station and we've got the dehydrator, we've got the starter, I've got some parchment sheets here, and we're going to just lay this out on the trays. I think there's 12. This is a 12 tray, so I can definitely spread this stuff out. I keep a rubber tray on here, but we are not going to do that because we're working with powder, right? So I'm going to take and put a piece of parchment down first, and then I've got, see, it's clumping together already. I got 2/3 of a cup, which I'm overfilling, so there's probably about a cup of starter on this tray. And I'm just going to spread this out. Trying to take out as many clumps as I can. It's unbelievable how it's wanting to clump back together. This just kind of confirms that I want to be doing this. And this one is just, it's kind of chewy, so it's not even going to go in there at all. I can tell that was from the freeze dryer. It was probably on the edge of the tray and just didn't get done. So to help with, because there's going to be a lot of airflow, I'm going to go ahead and put a sheet on top of this before I put it back in. So we've got a sheet, we've got our powder, and we've got another sheet. And I think I want to put these towards the middle. I mean, it's going to probably fly around anyway and probably make me another mess, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to keep working and loading these up, and I'll let you know how many trays we ended up doing. Oh, I ended up with 10 trays. Let me bring you in a little closer here so you can see what's going on. And we're going to turn this baby on, and I want to get the temperature as low as it will go. And it's 80 degrees on my dehydrator, which I'm excited about because I thought it was 88. So it's 80 degrees. So I'm setting the time. And you know what? The max time is 23 hours, and I can get all the way up to just about 24 hours, 55 seconds. So I'm going to let this go and run so that if I forget, I did this, so I really think that 12 hours would be more than enough, probably even 6. But if I forget about this, it's going to still dehydrate, because this stuff with the sugar content, we don't want to let it just sit idle. It's got to be running in the machine, whether it's the freeze dryer or the dehydrator. I want it running until I'm ready to package. We're back the next day, and I think are going to be ready to package up our Amish friendship starter that we've worked so hard to preserve so that we can share with others. This has been going about 24 hours, maybe a little bit less. I'm going to go ahead and open it. I'm going to leave that going because I want it to keep drying. And let's take a peek at what we have here. Okay, there is our powder. Oh dear.
Yep, the dehydrator was a horrible idea.
Extremely sticky. This is super disappointing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this up and we're going to put it back in the freeze dryer. Here we go. Okay, the only way I know how to fix this is to go ahead and turn on our freeze dryer and try to get things going back there again. This is extremely disappointing to me because this was dry and now it is sticky. It's like it's received moisture somehow. So that is super disappointing. What I'll do is I'll take this and I will fold it over so that both the top and the bottom can be covered. And we're going to need to put 2 on each tray would make 8. Okay, I've wrapped all this up really well, like layered wrapped it, hoping for no explosions. Oh, we're back. I don't know what day it is. I don't know how long it's been. I told my son this morning, I said, hey, could you add more time to the freeze dryer? He must have not saw that part in the text. When I told him breakfast was ready, he must have just thought, oh, food. So anyway, I came down and it said that it is done. This makes me extremely nervous. I hate that. I always like to get down here before it is done. So I am not going to warm trays. No, thank you. We're just going to open this up. Full bore. I usually go slow, but I've got the protective layer. I just want to see what we're getting into and if I'm going to have to restart this again. I don't know. They say 3rd time's a charm. I'm going to hope for the best here. The trays are cold. I'm a little scared. It's hard. It's flaky. The fact that it's cold is freaking me out, but I'm going to go with it because I just can't. We have to be done with this, friends. We just have to be done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up and then I'm going to take it. I'm going to run it through and powder it just like we did before. I probably won't take you long. There's no reason to do that. All I'm doing now is just kind of putting it into smaller pieces so I can have it all in this one container to take upstairs with me. Okay, so what I did is I've got that fine powder that I wanted from the very, very beginning, right? I went upstairs, I ran this through the blender, the dry blender, and then I ran it through a sieve so we could get the finest powder possible. And now we're going to fill our little packets here. I want to weigh this out. It is, let me change the unit, 0.2 ounces. And even though this is kind of clumping, because that's what it does, I'm going to see about putting 3/4 of a cup in here, or excuse me, 2/3. Let's see if I can get a full cup in here. Well, I want to be able to close it. Okay, there is 4 ounces, so I need to put, oh, now it's 8.3. 4.1. All right, 4.2. So with this, it's about 8.4. So we have 4 ounces in here. And I want to go ahead and in here, I want to put a moisture absorber. This is going to help with taking out moisture that might possibly be in there. You know, this has been quite the process here. So I'm just going to throw one of these packets in there, and then I'm going to seal it first with my finger, and then we'll go over and we'll heat seal this top. But I want to keep working. I want to get to this as quickly as possible. I need to make this a little on the hotter side because it's Mylar. We ended up with 11 of these, and I think we would have gotten 12 had we not had all the mishaps. I can't say for sure. I'm going to go ahead and give this a double seal just because I'm a little nervous about the moisture. So let's do just a little bit of a wrap up here. I still want to take, and I'm going to label these on the front. It'll probably say what it is, and then on the back, maybe the directions on how to reconstitute. Maybe I'll even try to make a blog about this so that if anyone gets the sourdough starter, they'll have reference to go back to. As this video won't show you how to reconstitute it, maybe that I should do in a future video. I don't know that we'll have enough time in this video to do that. But I can tell you how, after I get the directions made, I will tell you how we do that. But for now, I'm having some thoughts, and I want to tell you that, will I do this again? I don't know. Will I do it the same? Definitely not. So I would probably choose to, instead of having fed it and then brought it and put it in the machine, next time if I were to do this again, I will put it in the machine when it's unfed, and then when I package it, I would probably put some powdered sugar with it, and possibly, I would probably put some, I would either put some powdered sugar and flour in with it to have ready to feed, and some powdered milk and things like that. I would probably put those ingredients that we use in addition to mix with it so it's ready when you reconstitute. Or in the directions, I would say you need to add this to it. So that is a thought I could try on another time, because you know I'm all about experimenting here. So we had a mess, we cleaned it up, we moved on, and now I still have some friendship starters that will travel much better to go see my friends. And I'm excited about this, to have this to share. Kind of like sourdough, you know, we all have different environments, and so this will be just a little something from my house that will be a little unique and special. So I'm glad I did do it, but I would caution you, if you want to do something like this, that the dehydrator, although it should have worked, did not, and the freeze dryer was a little overboard. So yeah, lessons were learned, but we had fun, didn't we? So I want to thank you for being here with me on this journey. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you're not already part of the Farmwife fam, what are you waiting for? Push that subscribe button. If you enjoy my content, share it out. Bye for now.
Open your package and remove the desiccant. In a non-reactive container, add the dry starter to a half a cup of non-chlorinated water. Stir with non-reactive spoon. Gently cover with cloth or loose lid and set for 24 hours. Stir again and add a half cup each flour, sugar, milk to the bowl. Uncover, stir, and recover each day for 3 more days. Then the next day, add 1.5 cups each sugar, flour, and milk. Divide into 1 cup portions and either bake with or share your starter with a friend. Make sure to save back one for yourself so you can start again. This is considered day 10. Find the full 10-day regular feeding process on my blog.